Hey guys, how's it going? This is the Helpful Lockpicker here, and the video I have for you today is going over how to install this Schalge doorknob set. This is a very easy set to install. All it requires is a few moments of your time, a little patience, and a screwdriver. More information is coming up on how to install this lock in just a second. Please stay tuned. Alright, so the first thing I'd like to do is let's get this box opened up and take a quick look at all the components, and then we're going to head downstairs and install this onto a door. So we're going to just open up the back of the box here, and we're going to take a quick peek and see what we are going to be dealing with here. So this comes very nicely packaged. So when you first open up this box, what you'll see is several components. Here's the part of the doorknob that goes to the secured side. This part is going to be the part that does not take the key. This is going to go to the non-secured side. This is going to be the part that will take the key, as you can clearly see. And then we're going to have the latch. This is what's going to interface with the door to keep it shut. And then we're going to have our two working keys, which are obviously going to operate the lock, and they are pretty important when you are installing the door lock. And then we're going to have some of our hardware. Some of the hardware is going to be the little covers that go over where the latch goes. And it has a little poking tool which will help you be able to get the lock out when you need to be able to get this knob off. So one thing I'm going to caution you about is whenever you buy a new lock at a box store, just bear in mind they often come key to like the first 5 or so in a row, and you always want to get those locks rekeyed because anyone standing behind you could possibly pick up the same package and now have a key to your front door. And that is something that you always want to keep in mind when you are buying new locks at the store. But enough of this, let's get started with installing our new lock. So the first step is going to be being prepared. So what you're going to need to do is make sure, 1, you have a key to the door that you're going to unlock, and 2, you're going to need to buy the appropriate supplies. For this door, what I have currently is a quick set lock that I'm going to change over to a Schalge lock. So I have already gone out and I have purchased all the necessary equipment that we just unboxed just a few minutes ago, and we are going to use this now to install this new lock onto this door. So the second step is going to be removing the doorknob. As you can see right here and right here, there are 2 Phillips head screws. So you're going to take your screwdriver and you're just going to unscrew them. Once those screws come out, the front of the knob will come off. You'll reach around the back and then the back of the knob will come off. And that will be our second step. So we're just going to loosen up these screws right now. And also you just don't want to lose anything because you never know when it will be helpful to have a backup of these screws, but if you don't like having too many copies of things, there's nothing wrong with throwing them out either. And we're just going to now pull the doorknob off the secured side, and then we're going to reach around and we're going to pull the knob out the other side. What you can do is push the latch in a little bit, and that will help loosen it up. And now we have taken off both our knobs and we are ready for the next step. Alright, we're now ready for our third step, which is going to be removing the latch. In order to do this, you're going to note that you have 2 Phillips screws, one on the top and one on the bottom. We're going to take our Phillips head screwdriver and we're going to unscrew those. Once those screws are taken out, we'll be able to remove the latch very quickly. Now that we have both screws out, we're going to simply just pull the latch out. And it comes out very easily and in one piece. Now that we have both the latch and the door knobs removed, our door is completely empty. There is no more lock mechanism installed. So now we're going to get ready to install our new Schalge doorknob. This is going to be just as simple as taking it apart, and it should only take just a few moments. Alright, so now we're ready for step 4, which is going to be installing our door latch. In order to do this, you want to make sure you orient it in the correct side. So the bigger part of the latch is going to go on the side where the lock's going to be installed, or the non-secured side. The smaller side is going to face the secured side or the side that does not have a lock. So what we're going to do is we're just going to insert this into the hole that we previously removed the latch from. We're going to take out 2 of the wood screws out of our packet here, and then we're going to just reinstall them from the place that we had just previously removed them. And this should just take a few seconds. It's going to screw these right into place, and we're going to secure the door latch. And once your door latch is installed, you just want to ensure that the middle of it is right there in the middle, and if it is too far off to the side, there are some fine adjustments that you can do, and I'll have you refer to the instruction manual of your door lock. And now we can push in the latch and we can see that it's working, and we are ready for our next step. Alright, so now we're going to be moving on to step 5, which is going to be reinstalling the door hardware. This is going to be the end where you're going to have the secured side. You can see that the doorknob where the key is off, and we'll get into more of that in just a moment. But in order to do this first step, we're going to look at the back, and we're going to see that there are 2 holes here for screws. What we're going to want to do is just align this right into the latch, and you might need to wiggle it a little bit until it slides right through. And then we're going to go back to the other side of the door and line up the other side. Now that we have the non-secured side lined up, we're going to take the secured side and we are going to try to line that up. So we're going to note that there's going to be a hole on the top and the bottom, and those are going to line up precisely with the 2 holes from the non-secured side. We're going to try to make this rectangle match up with that rectangle, and then we're going to have this little rod sticking out match up with the thumb turn. If it does not match up right away, you can just turn the thumb turn just a little bit, and that will hopefully help it match up. So I'm going to hold pressure on the back so I do not push it out, and I'm going to try to align this. Once it is perfectly aligned, it will start to sink in, and it will be fairly obvious that it is all perfectly aligned and ready to be secured. So it does take a little bit of moving around and trying to get it to line up. And now you can see that that is completely secured in there. It is completely lined up. And now we're going to insert our screws. We're going to use these ones here, and we're going to start to secure this. So we're going to just screw the 2 screws in place, and then we'll be ready for our next step. Alright, so those screws are nice and tight. This is nice and secure. And now we're ready to install the last part of our lock. Alright, so now we're ready for step 6. Before we move further, I just want to make sure everything we have done so far is working. So we're just going to turn the knob, and we're going to see how the latch will now pull in. Make sure when we do the lock and unlock, it doesn't feel like it's hanging up, and it's nice and smooth. And now that we can see that this is working very well, we're going to install the knob on the non-secured side of the lock. Alright, so we're ready for step 6. What we're going to do is we're going to reinstall our doorknob. If your lock came this way, this is because Schalge has developed this way of servicing their locks, so you do not have to take all the existing hardware off in order to do work on them. This is very convenient because it saves a lot of time, and it is just a really easy thing to do. So in order to get this lock back on, what you're going to need to do is make sure your lock cylinder is aligned perfectly and it is sitting very flush. You do not want it recessed back, you do not want it turned to the side, you just want to make sure that it is properly sitting in its housing. Then we're going to start to push it down the rod here, and then we're going to push it till we get a click. We are not going to have it fully secured yet until we take our key. We're going to turn the key 45 degrees. You're going to hear it snap into place. You're going to remove your key, and you're going to see that this knob is now properly secured and it is not coming out. So now we're going to be able to test our lock and make sure we're going to be able to keep the knob working. You can see that the latch is working. The key is working well. It is locking. It is unlocking. Then you can check from the back. It's locked. It is unlocked. Alright, so there's one final step, and it is completely optional, and that is changing out the cover to where your latch interacts. If you would like to change it out because you want to have everything be all the same brand, that is completely up to you. If you're just happy with having something that is functional, there is no reason to change it out. When you look at mine is very specific, and it is not something that I'm going to change out because I have an older door, and the one I have is working very well. If you'd like to see what one typically looks like, I'll put up a photo right now, and I'll just leave the decision with you if you're going to want to change yours out. Congratulations, you have now installed your first Schalge doorknob lock. This was not too hard. It just takes a lot of time, a little bit of patience, and you just need to just go for it. This is a very easy do-it-yourself, and it can save you a lot of money, and I really hope this video helped you out. If you guys have any questions or suggestions, please leave them in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video and would like to see more like it, please subscribe. As always, thank you so much for checking out this video, and I hope you all have a great day. And just thank you so much for checking this out.